Hey there everyone, it's time for another Gran Turismo Sport gameplay episode. In this episode, I am going to drive this new car that was released in this latest update to Gran Turismo Sport, and that is the Mazda RX-VISION GT3 Concept car. This car is part of the prototype concept lineup of cars from Gran Turismo titled Vision Gran Turismo. With this car that Mazda came up with, it looks like a very sleek design. Of course, taking inspiration from their other production vehicles. They have that same idea with the curves of the car. There were two colors of the car that you could have with it. It was this gray color and the traditional red color, the Mazda Soul Red Crystal color. So I stuck with the Mazda original red color. Alright, let's go racing with it. I'm gonna do one of the GT League races where it's the GT3 cars. So it's gonna be along the same lineup of cars at the Nürburgring, the North Course, the very long racetrack. What's cool about it is that basically using Gran Turismo and coming up with these concept cars would eventually turn into reality, kind of like with Toyota's Supra. The new Supra was at first a concept, and then some of these Mercedes were first concepts that were presented in the game, which they continued to build upon for future production cars. With Mazda's GT3 concept car, it looks like this may be in the future a car that they will use for the GT3 sports car competitions out there, like Imsa or like in the World Endurance Championship. Like I said, we're doing the Nürburgring North Course, which is 12.95 miles. It's a very long racetrack. One of these days, I'd love to drive here. One of these days, it's on my life's bucket list. Let's go racing. Let's try out this car. Ooh, the sound. Rotary. It's a very narrow track, especially with this wide body of a car. Oh, I already crashed already. Alright. Alright. Minimize mistakes. Oh, got on the grass again. Drop down 2 places. See if we could squeeze by these guys. Past the Citroen. And past this Supra. Alright. Little bump. Goodbye, bud. top section of the track here. A lot of tight corners with fast flowing chicanes. A long right-hander here. Lock it up more. Get back on track. Subaru. Gotcha. Coming up to the carousel. Oh, guy drove cars ahead. Time to make some moves. Try not to go off track because that once you get a wheel off on that grass and I'm turning, you spin out. Again, I do not have force feedback on this steering wheel. I have to know the physics of the car, of what it's going to do, so I can counter what the car does, like how it understeers or how it oversteers through the corners. Get the draft on this long straight. Yeah, the leaders are up ahead. First, second, third. Oh, the other Mazda. Oh no! Hold on, watch this. Oh, back on track. cheap way to go. I mean, I'm already ahead. Let's just pull away. Let's put in a good lap here. I mean, from what I feel in this car so far, even though it's a... Oh, no, no, no! Even though it's a... Oh, okay, I'm back on track. Oh, no, 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 no! No. Anyways, what I was trying to say is that even though it's a racing game, a racing simulator, and I don't have force feedback, but from, what I could tell from this car, I mean, it's nice and smooth. It drives like the other GT cars. I'd say it drives like the BMW GT car. Or maybe even the Lambo. Oh, center place caught up to me. Speaking of which, it is the BMW that's behind me in second. Alright, come into the carousel one last time. Whoa, drifted. Hold it, hold it. Almost spun out there. The long straightaway to the final turns up into the finish. Just hold it on. Don't go off on the grass like you did last time. 170. Let's see how fast I can get. 173. I mean, I am going slightly uphill. Back down again. 180. Good race, good race. Made some mistakes, but managed to get the win after dropping back 2 positions after I crashed in the first sector, in the beginning of the first sector. Also, this episode is a Motorsports update episode. While the replay runs, I'm gonna let you know the latest in the Motorsports news. There has been a lot of Motorsports news since my last Motorsports update episode over a month ago. So, it is time to go over the latest in Motorsport news. This weekend on July 4 and July 5, we'll see a lot of motorsports events happen. Formula One will officially start its 2020 season this Sunday in Austria. The Imsa Weathertech Sports Car Championship will resume their 2020 season this Saturday, July 4th, on the Daytona Road Course. NASCAR races this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but that is not the only series racing there. The NTT IndyCar Series, in a historic first, will be racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series on the same weekend. A lot of exciting things are happening in the motorsports world. Let's go into the news of each specific series. The Monster Energy Supercross Championship completed their 2020 season by holding the last 7 rounds of the season at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah. They held their races on Sunday and Wednesday during the month of June, with the final round of the championship was held on June 21st. It was exciting to have Supercross racing twice a week in the month of June. Like with NASCAR, it was interesting seeing Supercross without any spectators. After the final 7 rounds of the championship played out, Eli Tomac of the Monster Energy Kawasaki team would become the 2020 champion of Monster Energy Supercross. This is Eli Tomac's first Supercross championship after coming so close to winning the championships in past seasons. Well deserved, Eli Tomac. It was a long time coming. The Race All-Star Series continued their e-racing series. The Race All-Star Series had their 3rd season of e-racing in R-Factor 2. Season 3 was only 3 races. What they did for this season is that they had the 3 divisions, Pro Cup, Sim Masters, and Legends trophies, race the 3 races of the Motorsports Triple Crown: the Monaco Grand Prix Street Circuit, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Oval, and Circuit de la Sarthe, home to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It was a very exciting e-racing event especially seeing everyone race the oval of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which a lot of these pro and sim drivers raced the oval for the first time in competition. Unfortunately, no one was able to get the win in all 3 tracks for the Triple Crown. If they did, they would get a prize money bonus. After the 3 races of Season 3 played out, Oliver Rowland would get the championship in the Pro Cup division. Uri Kasdorp would win the championship in the Sim Masters division. And Juan Pablo Montoya would get the championship in the Legends Trophy. The race plans to do a Season 4 of their e-racing series on the Racing Sim R-Factor 2. You can check out all the past seasons of the Race All-Star Series on the Race YouTube channel. Like I mentioned up top, the Imsa Weathertech Sports Car Championship resumes their 2020 season after just completing the first race of the season, which was the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona back in January. Imsa did adjust the schedule accordingly in regards to safety and restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This weekend they will resume racing for their second race of the season, which they'll be racing again at the Daytona International Speedway road course. But this time not for 24 hours, it is a shortened race for 240 miles. Get it? They wanted to keep the 24 in some aspect of this race. Check your local listings as Imsa returns to racing this Saturday at Daytona. Formula E finished their 8th round Race at Home Challenge Series in support of GENESYS. After the completion of 8 rounds, Stoffel Van Dorn would be crowned the champion of this E-Series. Well, they just titled it as the overall winner of the Race at Home Challenge Series. Formula E announced their plans to resume their 2019-2020 season by hosting all of the final 6 races at the Tempelhof Airport in Berlin, Germany. Rounds 6 and 7 are held on August 5th and 6th. Rounds 8 and 9 will be held on August 8 and 9. And rounds 10 and 11 will be held on August 12th and 13th. I assume during the gaps between the dates of the races, they will change the track layout since they are able to do so in an abandoned airport. Formula E also announced the provisional schedule for the 2021 season. They will hope to go to all the races they didn't go to this year because of the pandemic. Formula One finished their virtual Grand Prix E-Series. At the end of the virtual Grand Prix series, Williams F1 driver George Russell would be the champion. Formula One is set to start their 2020 season in Austria on July 5th. With this race, they do plan on racing without spectators. In other Formula One news, Williams unveiled their official livery for the 2020 season. It looks great. It was announced that Rocket Phones dropped their sponsorship from the Williams F1 team. The Mercedes-AMG team would change their livery for the 2020 season to an all-black livery. This all-black livery is done to pledge to fight to end racism and end discrimination. The all-black livery looks amazing, and it will send a great message to the world to end racism. The IndyCar Series would get their 2020 season started at Texas Motor Speedway on June 6th. It was my first time seeing the aero screen in action in real life instead of it being from a racing simulator. My opinions on the aero screen is that I am still getting used to it aesthetically. It's probably going to be the same thing like when Formula One debuted the Halo. I know over time I will eventually get used to it, but I do feel a lot more comfortable knowing that the IndyCar drivers have this safety device with their cars now. When it came to the race at Texas Motor Speedway, it was a one-day event with no real pre-season practice session. The race basically showed that those who are experienced IndyCar drivers at Texas Motor Speedway were the strongest in the race. It was exciting to see the IndyCar Series kick off their 2020 season. The race was great, but like I said, the experienced drivers pulled ahead, and it was Scott Dixon who would capture the first win of the 2020 season. I will talk more about their next race later in this Motorsports update. In the previous Motorsports update video, we last left off the NASCAR Cup Series when it returned to racing in Darlington, where Kevin Harvick took the win. They raced in Darlington again that Wednesday for race 6 of the season. Denny Hamlin would get the win. Next week, on Sunday, May 24th, the NASCAR Cup Series would hold their traditional longest race of the season, the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski would endure the 600 miles and get the win. Race 8 of the season took place again at Charlotte. The race was supposed to be run on Wednesday, but rain postponed it to Thursday, May 28th. Chase Elliott would win that 500-mile race. Race 9 of the season took place on Sunday, May 31st at Bristol Motor Speedway. Brad Keselowski would get his second win of the season there. Race 10 took place on Sunday, June 7th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick would get the second win of the season there and pay tribute to the late Dale Earnhardt. Race 11 took place on Wednesday, June 10th at Martinsville Speedway. Before the race, NASCAR announced that the Confederate flag will be prohibited from all NASCAR events and properties. This is a great step for inclusion into the sport of NASCAR and to help end racism here in this country. This is the first time the NASCAR Cup Series held a race at night under the lights at Martinsville Speedway. Martin Truex Jr. would get the win here. Race 12 of this season took place on Sunday, June 14th at Homestead Miami Speedway. This 400-mile race saw Denny Hamlin get another victory this season. Race 13 was on Monday, June 22nd at Talladega Motor Speedway. It got rained out on Sunday, so the race was postponed to that Monday. That Sunday evening, a crew member from the 43 Bubba Wallace team saw a noose hanging in their garage. NASCAR issued a statement that this is a hate crime aimed at the only black driver in NASCAR, Bubba Wallace. An investigation on that noose was conducted to find the perpetrator. Before the starts of the race, the entire NASCAR community at the track came together and walked Bubba Wallace's car to the front of pit lane to show their support for Bubba Wallace, as the entire NASCAR community stands up to fight to end racism. It was a great race when it comes to this type of packed racing in Talladega. In the end, Ryan Blaney would hold off the field to win the Geico 500 at Talladega. A day after the incident on the news, the FBI concluded that this was not a hate crime aimed towards Bubba Wallace. With the FBI's investigation, they found out that the noose was there since October 2019. The garage door pull in the garage Wallace's car was parked was fashioned in the style of a noose. Yet, it was found out that this was the only garage found to have a noose as a garage pull. Personally, I am relieved that this isn't a hate crime towards Bubba Wallace. I feared that if it was a hate crime towards Bubba Wallace, it would have been somebody from within the NASCAR paddock or somebody who works with the Talladega Superspeedway, which it would be a shame to have known that a person would do such a thing. Again, I am relieved that this wasn't a hate crime towards Bubba Wallace. And it should have been reported. And it wasn't falsely reported, as NASCAR did show proof that there was a noose in that garage. And it was the only noose fashioned as a garage pull among all the garage doors at the track. The moment they had before the race doesn't spoil the fact that this wasn't an actual hate crime. That moment showed the NASCAR community standing up in support for Bubba Wallace, to show NASCAR's ability to change, to be more inclusive to all races, and to promote the end of racism and discrimination. I still stand with Bubba Wallace and his support for the Black Lives Matter movement, because this movement is to seek justice for those who were wrongfully killed for being black. This movement is to help end racism, to help end discrimination. This movement is to recognize that this world is full of different people to be loved and appreciated, especially for Black lives. Now, continuing on with more news, on Saturday, June 27th and Sunday, June 28th, the NASCAR Cup Series performed their first ever double-header weekend at Pocono Raceway. Race 14 on Saturday, June 27th was a 325-mile race. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin would battle in this race, and in the end, Kevin Harvick would hold off Denny Hamlin for the win. Race 15 and the second race of the weekend at Pocono was on Sunday, June 28th. Rain would delay the start of the event, but they would be able to complete the entire 350 miles, where the win was between Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin again, and Denny Hamlin this time would come out with the win. Before I get into NASCAR's next race, the NASCAR All-Star Race was announced and will be held at Bristol Motor Speedway on Wednesday, July 15th. The 2020 All-Star Race will feature 4 stages and will have the choose rule on restarts. Announced on June 30th, Jim Johnson is set to test an IndyCar for the first time with Chip Ganassi Racing. This is exciting news, as there may be potential for Jimmy Johnson to race the Indy 500 either this year or next year. This July 4th weekend will see the return of the Imsa Series and the start of the 2020 Formula One season, which I mentioned earlier in my Motorsports news update. But this July 4th weekend will provide another historic event in the world of motorsports, with the NTT IndyCar Series and the NASCAR Cup Series, along with the NASCAR Xfinity Series, racing on the same track on the same weekend for the first time. The IndyCar Series starts the weekend on July 4th with the GMR IndyCar Grand Prix at the road course of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. After the completion of the IndyCar race, the NASCAR Xfinity Series will race the road course as well. Then the next day, on Sunday, July 5th, the NASCAR Cup Series will be racing the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Oval for the Big Machine Hand Sanitizer 400, formerly known as the Brickyard 400. This is going to be a historical event to see the NASCAR Cup Series and the IndyCar Series headline a weekend of racing at the same track, albeit IndyCar on the road course and the NASCAR Cup Series on the oval. But regardless, it is historic, and this may mean more of these in the future, hopefully. Let's say IndyCar does the Charlotte Roval as well with the NASCAR Cup Series. That would be cool to see. This July 4th weekend is stacked with motorsports from Saturday to Sunday. Be sure to check your local listings for TV schedules in your area. Thank you for watching this Gran Turismo Sport gameplay episode and motorsports updates. Please like the video, subscribe to the Spellgo YouTube channel for more of my gameplays as well as other content. And as always, thank you for watching.